The Masters Championship hangs in the balance for our Cup drivers. There's 2 shots to settle it this weekend as we get ready for the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America GT3 Cup Series by Yokohama. I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is former racer Joey Atterbury and sports car racer Ashley Freiberg. Joey, this roller coaster of a track is going to make for quite the setting for our finale.
It's been a fantastic Friday of racing so far, and let's take a look at this track map of Road Atlanta. Located just outside of Atlanta is a 2.5-mile, 12-turn facility. Very, very fast roller coaster, like you heard Joe say. Turn number 1, fast sweeping right-hander that climbs up the hill. Turn number 3, blind over crest. You got to be really careful. And then the S is always one of the most iconic areas here at Road Atlanta. Turn number 7 is highlighted because you need to get that exit run out onto that long back straightaway. It feeds you into the brake zone of turn number 10, the best passing opportunity on this racetrack. And once you leave turn number 10, it's pretty much up over the hill and across the line to start finish.
So as we catch up to the cars here, coming around on their first warm-up lap, we have a big field, so let's get through them. Alan Metney starts on the pole next to Cole Kleck. That's both of your Pro-Ams there on the front row. Danny Dushelski also in that Pro-Am will be third with Scott Blenge, your pole sitter in the Masters, but 4th overall. From there, 5th goes to Caden Kelly, as Reinhold Kron will be starting from P6. He's on a good string of form lately. Tony Melito starts from 7th position. Mike Mim will be in P8. And then as we get to row number 5, you've got Matt Dusek starting in 9th. Joey, it is Todd Treffert rounding your top 10.
Yeah, and then over in 11th is the 227 of Joel Johnson. Lined up next to him is Todd Piott in 12th place. In 13th, we've got Dave Musil Jr. back here. In 14th, it's going to be Josh Conley driving that 299 car. And over in 15th, it's going to be Mark Bowden in the Fall Line Motorsports machine. 16th is going to be Mufar Gafarov. In 17th, it's going to be Therese Lalu. We'll see what she can do with Dory out there in the 242, as well as John Gilliland starting from 18th. In 19th, we've got Chris Hutter, and rounding out the top 20 is Tillman Schmid.
21st is going to be going to Kyle Washington, with Ross Poole starting in 22nd in the Goldcrest Motorsports number 285 machine. Frank Fittiello starts in 23rd alongside Laura Eli for Black Sheep Racing, having the number 209. Then in 25th, it'll be Eric Lapp. On his outside, Sean McCaig starts in the 26th position. And heading on down into the 27th spot, we see John Manship alongside Thomas Herb racing for Fall Line Motorsports in 28th. David Musil is going to be starting 29th today, followed by Dan Ammon in 30th. And then in 31st, we have Paul Mulcahy. I'm not sure that he will be starting the race, though. We'll double check here and make sure whether or not that 254 will be out on the track. So we're on our second pace lap. They're starting to get warmed up, but Ashley, this is our last race of the afternoon. So from here, everybody will get an overnight to kind of think about how things went.
Yeah, and as we're finding out, this track is proving to be a great racetrack. We've had some really good battles earlier today in the Cayman race and in the West Coast race. So I'm really excited to watch this. I know, gosh, the top 4 cars are going to be battling pretty tight here. Certainly Alan, Cole, and DeCelsi are going to be battling it out. And Scott and Caden, as well, as we've seen in previous races, they've had quite the strong battles between those two. So I think there's going to be a lot of action in this race.
Now for Cole Kleck, he has already wrapped up the championship over in the Pro-Am, but in the Masters side, Scott Blend will just need a victory to clinch here for the title. If he doesn't finish in that spot, we'll try and go over what that does mathematically. But obviously, he'll still be in a very good position. As we come down into the final chicane, everybody's all lined up and ready to go. And some of them have had some practice, as we had the USA West Series, so a few of the Cup drivers have had some time on the track. Others, this is their first time racing this weekend. Pace car is in. Oh, and a little bit of contact between our front row as they try to come down to the line. Metney is on the loud pedal as the green flag is out. Metney gets a good jump. Cole Kleck immediately covers off Dyshelski and then weaves back, opens it up, breaks extremely deep into the first corner, but that's too deep. He goes off the course and into the grass. He's trying to save it. He just about keeps it from looping around, but he falls back multiple positions.
Great job to save the car, Cole Kleck, and now he's back onto the racetrack, I believe slotted in right behind what is Caden Kelly back there, and look at how busy it's starting to get stacked up, allowing that orange 211 car back in. Side by side through the S's, that's Josh Conley on driver's left as they work their way through turn 5.
I believe alongside Eric Lapp, those two having to get that settled out as we look ahead of them. And Reinhold is on the defense coming into turn 6. Looks like he will hold on to that position over Tony Melito.
It is a frantic opening half lap, and now Cole Kleck spins it around, coming out of turn number 7, too anxious on the throttle, just gassed it up, and you saw the wheel spin. Now he's going to have to sit and let this whole field roll through.
I'm not sure. He might have had a little bit of help from behind by Mike Mim. It looked really, really close there.
Just trying to figure out if that was Mim or Melito, because he was side by side, or at least in a battle with said car. Regardless, it's been a disastrous first lap. We still have a lot of action happening coming into the chicane. Up at the front, across the line, it is Metney leading. Scott Blend is at the top of your Masters class, but it looks like Gilliland and the 246 getting tangled up with some damage on the 246 as well.
Yeah,
that's Mark Bowden.
Yeah, the 280s out there. I saw a splitter hanging out on the left side of the racetrack as well, so we'll see if they can recover those vehicles by themselves out there, as it looks like Metney is going down through the S's, and sure enough, both vehicles have left turn 10A.
Ooh, that was a very frantic first lap of the race, and amazingly, we stay green since everybody is able to get the cars moving, but there's going to be a few drivers that have a lot of work to do. For some, a bad race means others could be looking at a very good race.
You got to capitalize wherever you can here, and it doesn't matter if we're at Road Atlanta or somewhere else like Watkins Glen or Road America. You have to take advantage of the cards that are dealt on the table, even if it's in others' misfortune, and that's exactly what Metney, Dyshelski, and company are doing right now. Cole Kleck finds himself all the way at the back of this field.
Reinhold Kron now sitting on a podium. Last time he was on that podium was Sonoma, race number 2. In fact, he's thinking maybe one better than just that third place. He's being a bit of a hassle for Caden Kelly.
They're coming up to round out lap number 2, and it's pretty interesting because I saw that orange 211 go by start-finish, and he's only, call it, a corner ahead of the field, so he's actually in danger of going a lap down as the rest of this huge GT3 Cup field fields by start-finish.
Yeah, Cole Kleck definitely needs a caution at this point, but none forthcoming at this stage. Top 3 actually breaking away. Some of that may have been helped by the incident there into turn 7. Top 4 really breaking. Top 5 actually, I should say, all breaking away. Dyshelski in there. And then, of course, we've got Caden Kelly and Scott Blend up towards the front and leading the Masters field.
And as we watch this action on the racetrack, I can report the 280 has come down pit lane. So issues with that car as it was involved in that turn 10 incident on that opening lap.
I thought maybe he got away with that one, but Bowden not the only one with some damage apparently from that wreck. Wonder if race control would be taking any looks at some of the incidents that we witnessed as well. Still, we follow Reinhold Kron behind Caden Kelly as things try to settle down, along with Therese Lalu coming down the back straightaway. And she currently sits down in 18th overall. I feel like she lost some positions.
And she's making a move, trying to gain some of those positions back. So she's on the aggressive attack right now. That is Poole directly in front of her. And I got to agree with you. I know that she didn't necessarily have her best qualifying effort, but you're right. It's a little bit further down than we typically see her.
I'm showing her as starting in 17th position, so she lost one technically, but you think about she made some up from cars wrecking. So, yeah, this was not a very good start for her.
That's a good point, yeah. Consider that there's at least for sure one car in front of her that has dropped out. So hopefully she can just kind of find her rhythm out there. She's got a lot of track time in these cars as well. So the good thing is that the cars directly in front of her are all for position. They're all class cars in front.
That's the good news. And We know that Therese is a very good hard charger, so I think this is going to be fun if she can manage to make a few more overtakes. Meanwhile, a little bit ahead of her, she's got a battle between Poole and Hutter. That's for 16th overall here in this 992 Cup race. But like I said, Ashley, it feels like things are finally kind of settling into a bit of a rhythm.
Yeah, that was definitely a chaotic first lap there. I mean, this track is kind of narrow in comparison to some other racetracks, so that's also why when you're making a pass here, looks like we've got Melito trying to make a move here, doesn't make it stick. You really have to be strategic in terms of where you're making passes, because as we're learning, it's gets a little hairy when you're side by side in the wrong spot.
And Melito earlier was up within somewhere around the top 5, I want to say. Now he's down to 9th, working on Dusek just in front of him. Melito not in that Masters category that Dusek hails from, and currently sitting 4th in class. He needs to get up to Mim in the similarly painted car to get back onto the podium.
Here is our lead battle. I was very curious about this. Danny Dashelski, he's kind of this new young kid in the paddock, and he started out in some Cayman GT4s earlier this year and just absolutely put it to the field, and then hopped in these GT3 Cup cars. Has already claimed a win, but he's always on the podium, and now is kind of his first real test out here up against Metney.
And, I mean, if he can manage to get another victory, the one commonality that it would have is that was the day that Cole Kleck had a bad race. So he picks up on the mistakes of that orange car if he can continue this trend. But like you said, he's got another battle in Alan Metney, who tends to be another one that fights hard with Cole Kleck up there. In the meantime, jumping back to second place in the Masters, trying to be decided between Kelly and Cron. Again, Kelly needs to get ahead of Blend to keep his title hopes alive. As it stands now, he will lose out on the championship.
This is a angry little pack here going through the chicane at Road Atlanta. See Therese Lalu right in the middle of it. It looks like she was able to make that pass on Poole in that red 285 not too long ago, so she's now got her sights set on the Chris Hutter battle as well as Gaffarov. Those are the two cars directly in front. You saw Chris Hutter kind of make a look. Number one got the door shut. Therese Lalu closes the gap, and now it's side by side, wheel to wheel in front of her. Looks like Hutter made the pass.
Nicely done. Thought maybe she could take advantage of that. Looks like no dice this time by Gaffarov. Now the car in front of her. We said she tends to thrive on these sort of charge from the back situations, and it looks like she's already making good on it. But she's still got pressure from behind as Poole remains within striking range. Ooh, she gets a good run, though. She's going to look to the inside of Gaffarov coming down into turn 6. She's going to place her car on the apex, but can't quite get through.
Yeah, but watch out for that car behind. Was going to try to take a look into turn number 7, but thankfully Therese Lalu checked that mirror, saw that rapidly approaching car of Poole, and decided to take it super deep herself and able to defend that position. That's always one of those tricky ones, Ashley, that if you get turn 6 kind of on the back foot, it leaves you vulnerable in 7.
Yeah, for sure. And you also don't want to leave the door open. So she kind of got a little bit shallow going into turn 7. At the same time, you want to get a good exit out of 7 because there's another good passing area in turn 10A. So it's definitely a good balancing act, but she's doing a really nice job here, focusing forward. She is gaining a little bit on the car in front, so she just really needs to focus on her own car, right? Don't focus on the guys behind. It looks like she's trying to make her presence known here, so we'll see what she can do with this.
Gaffarov with a lot of pressure for sure, but they'll stay in position for now, although, they were just about side by side. She almost had a shot coming into turn 3. She has to shut the door quickly to keep Poole from taking advantage of that one. In the meantime, could we see a position lost here from, is that Melito?
I believe that might be Mim up there in the
You're
red
right.
car. And then Dusek is given chase in the bright orange machine in that 251. So it looks like a good battle here with, I believe that's Cron leading this group.
Yep.
Or it's Mim leading this group.
You're correct. It is Mim. And then we've got Melito at the back with Trefford and Dusek sandwiched in between, coming down the back straightaway. A lot of these packs starting to form early on in this 35-minute plus 1 lap race. Dusek, either an attack or defense, neither really happens as he stays in that same position coming down into the chicane.
See about down the front straightaway here, this 4-pack of GT3 Cup cars screams in front of our commentary booth here. I gotta admit, when we have these huge packs of cars so close together, it sounds really cool in here.
It makes for exciting racing, without a doubt. Back up to the front, Metny versus Dyshelski, 0.4 of a second. And my goodness, look at the gap, Ashley. It's 7.3 seconds already.
Yeah, they're definitely pulling away, but I mean, Dyshelski's doing a really nice job staying behind Metny. Metny had a really strong race in the West Series, so we know he's really fast. So the fact that Dyshelski is giving him a run for his money is super cool to see. And kind of going back to that battle we were watching earlier, Mike Mim doing a nice job as well. Currently P3 in the Pro-Am class.
Very interesting the dichotomy that we have here, Joey, because Alan Metny with a lot of experience, one of the older in the Pro-Am class, whereas Dyshelski comes in as a very young driver. So just two contrasting situations between our top two.
A young driver, and it's a driver that has not even been to every single racetrack that we've been to on the schedule. And looking down the inside here, that's Melito making the move in the 203 car. So he's going to get that position over Dusek.
Great awareness from him as well. Just enough space given between the pair of them coming down through.
Oh, there's a little bit of contact. The 288 machine definitely kind of getting bunched up. I believe that was Poole just barely getting into the bumper saying hello.
Don't want to cause another accident here. We've had enough of those at the start of this race. Thankfully, it has stayed green since the drop of the initial start of this event. And instead of our 4-pack, we got 5 of them all clumped together. Looks like Laura Eli is also in that mix.
Watch them all jump over this turn number 3 curb. You see some of the drivers opting to use more of that apex curb than others. It really is just down to that driving line and how comfortable they feel launching the car up over these curbs. Look at how wiggly Poole's car was, but hang on to it, still made it through turn number 5.
So he gets by Gaffarov, who was also overtaken by Lalu earlier, so she moves up into 16th overall and 8th in class. She's making great inroads since the start of this race. In the meantime, off of turn 7, once again, this entire group knows they've got to be picture perfect. So do the top 2 as we return our attention, and it's getting ever closer. It is now down to maybe a car length and a half between them as we got a spinner.
This is out of turn number 7. Can't quite make out which car exactly this is, but definitely unfortunate. They're going to get it turned around, and I believe that was one of the cars in that Dusek-Melito battle that has fallen down now.
Also, we're getting word from race control that they are giving incident responsibility for the lap 1 incident to John Gilliland, but he has retired from this race. So it'll be a time added post-race on this one.
Yeah, as we look as the 277 car was the one that spun around. I believe that was the one that was down there at turn number 7. That's Tillman Schmid back there in the TPC racing machine. And Metny got really loose coming out of 7 here. We might have a run for the lead.
Good catch on that one, and no doubt Dyshelski's eyes have widened when he saw that. He'll have gotten a front row seat to it, but can he chuck himself into the action now and become a part of the show? And an ultra defensive line for Alan Metny covers him off down to the inside. They're side by side for the lead of this race, but Dyshelski has to fade back.
That was a nice defensive move, and you saw the door slammed on Danny Dyshelski. Look at how much track position he lost from being choked up at the apex of 10B. He's going to have to gather it back up.
Yeah, if there's one thing about Alan Metny is that he races hard. He is not easy to pass at all, so that was a really good defensive move there by him.
222, going to be holding on up there. That's going to be Kyle Washington. In a slightly different livery than we're used to seeing him racing in, managing to be ahead of Joel Johnson. In fact, I think he just took that position, 12th, and moves him up.
And I think the reason why we're seeing that is he just participated in that USA West race. There was a little bit of damage on the front end of that car, so I'm not surprised to see Kyle Washington back out there in a race car on the track.
Woo! Who was that ahead of Johnson? Was that was Washington then? He was getting very loose coming over turn 3. We could see the car really taking a ton of curb. Now, focusing behind, Johnson has Musial 2.0 getting awful close to him. And where has Kleck been since then? Still in 28th.
I want to point something out, though. Cole Kleck is the fastest car on the racetrack, and he has been the fastest car on the racetrack ever since he got going again. Last time by was a 24.0. This time by is a 25.1, a little bit more off the pace, but we'll see Metny and Dashelski come through here. He's been probably 2 to 3 tenths faster than both of those cars.
How far back through the field can he go? We've already seen him have to do it once for very different reasons at Road America and inclement conditions. This one, though, it is bright and sunny. A lot harder to try and catch cars who may be a bit more timid if they were in the rain. Meanwhile, coming back to the mid-pack with another battle once again. And down the back straightaway. Anybody going to make a move? As it looks like the front two in this fight getting awful close.
So I want to point out as well, in the Pro-Am class, Melito has caught up to Mike Mim, and that is the battle for the top 3 within that class. So he is only 3 tenths behind Mike Mim, so this is going to get pretty close here.
So that's Eric Lapp, who is under pressure from John Manship, along with Dan Ammon in behind him. And then they've got a 4th car. It looks like that's Musial Sr. as well.
All streaming down the front straightaway here, and maybe a little bit early into turn number 1 from Lapp, kind of leading this group here, but doesn't seem to affect his run up the hill too much. And now they focus on what is turn number 3, the blind over crest apex that we have been watching those drivers jump the curbs all day, as we now jump up to Therese Lalu here in the 242. She's been continuing her charge after that opening lap. She's up to 16th now.
Chris Hutter's the next one. He was a little bit farther ahead, so he's proven a tougher nut to crack. He's got, looks like about 9/10 of a second over Therese for the time being. Back up to the front, our leader in the Masters class, Scott Blend, over Caden Kelly, who was losing ground before, but now is suddenly only 4 tenths behind.
Caden Kelly's doing a terrific job to catch back up to Scott Blend, in that battle that Ashley was just talking about as well is really starting to heat up. It's not only 2 cars, but it's now 3 cars, because Dusek has caught the back as well.
That's a good point. Ooh,
oh, yeah.
That was a moment for the 245 coming down out of turn 4. He thankfully caught it. But if he wasn't under pressure before, now he really is.
It goes to your point, though. Is Caden Kelly just kind of putting together a little bit cleaner back half of this race? Now, we heard Scott Blend say the temperatures are starting to get warm out there before this one. So I wonder if the car is just starting to move around a little bit more. Maybe the setup suited a little bit more to Caden Kelly kind of further into the race.
That could be. We do see that sometimes, Ashley, that some drivers just seem to have a car that gets stronger towards the end.
Yeah, these cars generally trend towards oversteer. So if you can start with your setup with the tiniest bit of understeer, then the car will sort of come to you as the race comes. Also, as the fuel burns off, the handling of the car changes as well. So got a good battle going on back here as well.
That's a battle for position ahead of Dusek between Melito and Mim.
And Melito's up the inside there.
Nicely done. We see that relatively frequently, Joey, where a driver gets a shot off the chicane, and it's not over yet. Here comes Dusek. Remember, this is a Masters car, and that's not for points feigned positions, but he's going to demote Mim another one.
Yeah, very shallow into turn 1, but made the pass work. So unfortunately for Mim, loses 2 spots in the span of, call it, a few corners. Now he's just got to kind of do that little bit of a mental reset. And as a driver, if you see somebody drive past you, there's always something you can learn out there. How are they attacking turn number 5? Is it differently than how I'm driving it? What can I pick up from these cars that just went by that are faster?
Also, that was a critical pass for Melito. He is up onto the podium with that one. He got a little bit set backwards, kind of getting involved in with some sort of incident there with Cole Kleck on lap 1, but has recovered nicely. Unfortunately for him, it's something like 18 seconds up to Dashelski in P2.
Yeah, it's a big gap there between Melito and Dashelski. I don't think that one's going to happen as we ride on board now with Tony Melito, who made that forceful pass here in this section of the racetrack just last time by.
Yeah, 20 some odd seconds it looks like between himself and the next class car up ahead. Tells you the pace that Metny and Dushelski are able to run. And meanwhile, it has just been constant action here in the mid-pack. Musil 2.0 looking like he's getting close to maybe being able to do something. And Eric Lapp in front of them has just overtaken Manship.
Yeah, but I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars all in a line here on the front straightaway. Kind of the caboose being Therese Lalu and Ross Poole back here. So here is that shot coming up towards turn number 3. All of these drivers and cars nearly identical in performance. Really the only differing thing sometimes is those driving lines, which we can see.
Everybody's going to have to mind themselves here. Little errors could wind up costing you multiple positions. The 227 of Johnson up at the front of this group, just ahead of Musil. And Musil's got a run on him. As ahead, we have two cars swapping positions, and off screen as we were watching this, there was just a huge cloud of dust kicked up by Kleck going by us on the front straightaway.
Hey, like I said, I don't think that guy knows how to drive at anything other than 1210s. You know, he's comfortable on the limit, so why force him to do something different?
He's using up all of the track and maybe a little bit more beyond that. So as we follow them down into the braking of the chicane, once again, this huge group of cars being led by Kyle Washington at the front of him. Josh Conley, unable to do anything with his momentum coming off the corner, now really needs it down the main straight.
I think it was Kyle Washington that made that pass going into turn number 6 on Conley that last time by, so he's going to try to set his sights through his windshield and drive away from this angry pack that he's now got in the rear view mirrors. Oh, and there's a car off spun. Impact onto the right side of the wall, head on, and that is out of the exit of turn number 1.
Full course yellow out almost immediately. I'm not surprised. Major damage on the front of the car.
And that looks to be the 227 of Joel Johnson. He was in the middle of that pack, and from what I saw, just got loose at the exit of turn number 1. It is such a long corner here.
That will slow us down. I think we should hopefully have enough time to get back going, but obviously that was a pretty big impact out there. So Alan Metny gets backed up, along with Dushelski. The rest of the field has a chance to catch up to them. More critically, if you're Cole Kleck, he finds a lot of his disadvantage erased.
The biggest thing, though, like you said, is going to be making sure that the driver, the car is safe and A-OK. There it is, stranded off on driver's right as Metny goes by, but he is picked up by the pace car and will slow the entire field down.
Thankfully, even though there was a little bit of fluid, it looks like it left on the track. I think it was well off the racing line. So that should be, I imagine, a bit of a non-issue. We'll wait for some more information on Johnson, make sure that he's okay. So we ride on board with Alan Metny, and not exactly what he wanted, but I will say that even though this backs him up to the rest of the field, Ashley, he's been having Dushelski just riding that rear bumper the entire time.
Yeah, Dushelski had that little gap for a while there, but then he reeled Allen right back in. So I don't know, it'd be interesting to see what happens moving forward once we go back green. But again, as we saw, Allen is definitely a hard racer. He's really good at keeping his position and at charging forward, so he's not going to make it easy for Danny, that's for sure. But I mean, if Danny can get by him, that definitely would be quite the victory.
I think we're going to get a look at the replay of exactly what happened here in turn number 1. Look at in the middle of the pack here. I believe it's the third car in line. Yeah, it just gets loose. And from there, he was already kind of sliding over driver's right. Not a whole lot of time to correct it, and just made that impact head-on into the wall. Safety crews are already on site talking to the driver. Certainly seems like he has gotten out of the car, so he seems A-OK. You see him standing there next to the car.
And Ashley, from above, I feel like it doesn't really show the elevation change on that first corner. What's happening with the physics of that car in that moment that can cause those oversteers?
Yeah, turn one is really high speed. It's a fourth gear corner, just quickly to the brake and then back off of it. And then it's a little bit downhill on entry and then quickly back uphill. And you're really hard on that outside rear tire as well. So that left rear is just, it's got a lot of pressure on it. And yeah, if you're starting to develop some oversteer, once you get up closer to the top of the hill where the road starts to crest or roll off, you can definitely get a little bit loose there. And also when these cars are driving nose to tail as closely as they are, there's a lot of aerodynamic effect happening there as well. So he may have had a little bit of understeer, or what we call aero push, which is the air being taken off of the front of the car. It starts to develop some understeer, and then once that front end grips back up, it can sometimes be a surprise and switch quickly back over to oversteer. So I'd be willing to bet it's kind of a combination of all of those things happening all at once.
And trust me, turn one, it continues, right? We're here watching on board, and you think, oh, there's apex, there's the exit curb. It doesn't end there. Look, we're still bending around to the right, even in this section, and I'll take it even back to my experience way back in the GS cars. Now, granted, we were trying some things with the rear suspension and whatnot, but we were chasing the back end of the car all over this place, and it was not uncommon to have loose moments in between turn 1 and 2. That's how much the car is still loaded on that left side.
It finally caught out a driver this weekend. We've seen some drivers go wide on entry, but this is the first one that's really taken a big smack on the right-hand wall here in the race itself. We're still at about 8 minutes plus a lap left to go, and it did look like we had some vehicles over at the scene of the accident for now. And Kelly apparently is aware that we got an onboard with him.
Yeah, he's just giving a little wave to the camera, making sure all of his fans out there are watching. And, of course, he had that big win over there at Watkins Glen just a couple weeks ago. So I think that he's got his eyes on the prize, and the prize is that bright yellow machine, his rival directly in front of him, of Scott Blend.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the win. Listen to this, though. He has not finished lower than second since the second race at Sonoma. Second, first, second, first, all the way up to Watkins Glen. Race 2, just amazing stuff and incredible consistency. And that's why he's stayed in contention with Scott Blend, even though Scott himself has been super dominant.
And talking about fast Cup drivers, it looks like Cole Kleck has officially caught the back end of the field again. That's how long it took him to catch up to everybody, you know, nearly a full lap down. And I think that he is probably evaluating that safety vehicle every single time he goes by, saying, yeah, no, it's ready, let's go back to green, I want some positions.
Now, if we see two cars on the timing tower change position here, don't be too surprised. Race control is reviewing whether the 213 and the 214 are in the correct order. So we'll find out whether or not that is once we see anything change around on the left-hand side of your screen. So don't panic. Nobody's making any illegal passes here during the caution.
Looks like we might have a drag race down the front straightaway here between the tow truck and our pace vehicle. Looks like the Cayman is trying to get into the slipstream here as our safety vehicles are still collecting, unfortunately, this car on the side of the road.
Yeah, I can understand why they need that tow truck over there. That hood being up was not put there. It was that way pretty much since they had the accident. You can see the view from Metney, who's trying to warm up the tires and brakes a little bit here.
And what I find interesting about it is that he was warming everything up on the dirty side of the racetrack.
He did that earlier,
which
too.
Didn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, I'm glad you said something, because I noticed he did that pretty much the very first lap under yellow here, and I didn't say anything at first, but now that he's done it again, I'm kind of confused by that.
When I see it as a competitor, I say, okay, well, there's 5 minutes left. They're not going to get this thing cleaned up. Maybe he's just putting some extra rubber on the tires. But then he goes through it and does tire scrubbing such as this, which kind of eliminates all of that buildup. So, yeah, a little bit of a question mark going on in the brain.
Well, maybe if we get a chance to ask him after the race, we'll see if we can find out what his thought process is coming into that first corner. But crossing fingers that we do get this one restarted if everything's okay over there at the scene of the accident. If it doesn't, then obviously that's another win for today. Metney's already taken the Pro-Am win over in the USA West race, and now he could have one in North America in a blend. Both of them actually would win each of their respective classes.
One thing that we got to remember, I think in a normal timed race, probably looking at this incident as probably the race end. However, with this style of race where we go to the 000 and then +1 lap, it does allow a little bit more wiggle room. Make sure that those safety workers do have everything cleaned up and everything's able to go back racing. But I'm curious, do we get one lap shootout at the end of this?
Well, we had it twice in the Cayman series over at Watkins Glen. It's definitely not unheard of. It makes for an exciting finish, that's for sure. Metney probably wouldn't want it to have that, because that would allow Dashelski a good chance at trying to see if he can overtake him. Same thing with Blend and Kelly behind him. So we've got confirmation that the order for the 213 and the 214 to Perriott and Treffert is correct, so no need to look at that. And checking to see if we have any more information on any of the happenings out there. Looks like no new news as to what's happening with the cleanup over there. So we sit tight, we wait patiently, and hope that we get a little more racing here on Friday.
Pace car is coming down to start finish. Let's see what lap times we're doing under the safety car here. And actually he's holding incredibly consistent. Nice job out there, Drew, doing about 2-minute 50s, 3-minute lap time. So you put that on the board. I mean, we might actually get 2 more laps of yellow before getting that white flag. So theoretically, another 9 more minutes of racing is possible.
You're right. All right, so if they can hustle up there, then we could see a little bit more action out on track. This time, everybody's staying to the outside, coming into the corner here at turn 1. But not a whole lot to report out there. We're just kind of waiting for some updates on that incident, as we haven't heard anything quite yet up here in the booth. Purple People Eater just leads the way up through the S's and over turn 5 as we watch the clock tick down. We do have to remember that we have one more race for the GT3 Cup Series here and the North America Series a little bit later on this weekend on Saturday. And then, of course, we have the endurance race, 4 hours on Sunday afternoon. So the drivers will not be short of action on track.
I'm curious. I'm very excited for that 4-hour race on Sunday as we get the shots of this car now officially on the flatbed. And that's kind of what I was wondering, is that if they can get this thing out of here before we officially get the white flag, we might get that one-lap shootout. But back to that endurance talking point. Have you talked with Ruckus Racing and Scott Blend at all? Is he going to try to Ironman the 4-hour?
I don't know. I have not had a chance to ask him, but I feel like knowing Scott, yes.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought the answer would be as well. And as far as I know, he has not had a co-driver in the Endurance Challenge event. And, Joe, you're holding up a TBD sign.
Yes. Now, I don't know how accurate our spotter's guide is, but because there may have been updates since it was given to us, or at least since I printed it out. And it says to be decided next to his name. I'll try and check some of the official stuff on the website and see if he's put anybody down next to him. But yeah, my goodness, that'd be a lot to be in there for 4 hours.
It would be a lot, and I think I'm getting race control that nothing is going to be going back green. So unfortunately, we're going to be probably finishing this one out under the safety car.
Oh, okay. We're hearing word you are not allowed to run it alone. That 4-hour race. Okay, so he will have a teammate. We'll go and chat with him, see if we can get some info on who he's teamed
Scott,
up with.
I'm available.
Oh, there you go. Did you bring the helmet out here?
I can find one.
There you go.
Oh, I would love to see that team up. Ashley and Scott out on track would be fantastic. All right, so disregard what Joey said about maybe not coming back. Do have the car up there. We just have to watch the safety car, though, to see whether or not the lights come out, because they are going to have to leave soon. Lights are still on the pace car, but they have probably until somewhere around the back straightaway to turn those off.
And I actually just got word that the co-driver for Scott Blend is actually in this race right now. I'm not going to say anything out loud because I'm not sure if it's officially announced yet.
Okay.
But it is a competitor to him right now.
Okay, interesting. I have my suspicions on who it might be, but I'll ask you once we get off the air here and find out. Sadly, sounds like we will not carry on with a one-lap shootout. They're going to give him the white flag with the yellow, and we will then wrap up the final lap around here. Race control having some fun with Drew and our safety car driver saying that he's going to win another one out there.
Makes up for turn 3 after all.
You know, I was going to make a joke a little bit earlier, so you beat me to the punch. Yeah, I don't think he's had an off yet this weekend.
No, Drew is our pace car driver out here. He's in that beautiful Cayman GT4, and he always does such a terrific job out there. We always love to give him a little bit of a hard time, but always on top of it and does a terrific job here with the road racing, especially with Porsche Sprint Challenge.
Yep, and he'll lead them around one more lap as they officially get that white flag. You can see down the front stretch, and this big field just unfortunately trundles by at pacing speed. All those who were hoping for just one more overtake before this was over will wind up being a little bit disappointed. And I think the most disappointed in that is probably Cole Kleck.
Yeah, I was just about to make a little bit of a talking point that he probably felt like he was on the back foot, not qualifying on pole like he typically is, and made an overly aggressive move into turn number 1. For a while, it looked like it was going to work out until he got to that exit and just ran out of road. And so unfortunate to have things unravel even further once we got down to turn number 7 for that orange 211. So just like at the beginning of the year, remember he had a little bit of some difficulties at Sonoma with race control in the start. He's an incredibly smart kid. He's an incredibly smart driver. He'll go back and he'll definitely review and learn from it.
Speaking of that race, this will be the first time he has not been on the podium since then. That was race number 3 on the season. So, I mean, just incredible. Obviously, he didn't win at Road America Race 1, but he still came back and finished P3 in that one.
And, you know, Joe, you'll have to check on your stats over here, but the 203 car, Tony Melito, now he is on that Pro-Am podium. That is a terrific finish for that Fall Line Motorsports car. I'm not sure if he has stood on the podium here yet this season. This is the second time.
No, he stood on it twice already. This will be his third one.
Gotcha.
He had the first race at COTA and the first race at Road America, actually. So the one in the wet. He finished P2 in that one. So we'll add to his podium tally, but still a nice job, and had to earn that. He had to fight his way back up to it.
He definitely did. It was a great race. And Ashley, you were commenting on some of those aggressive moves that he was making through the field.
Yeah, no, he did a great job this race. Definitely hard earned, and yeah, being in the top 3 in Pro-Am is fantastic.
Well, it's time for our finish for Alan Metney, who is not finished off the podium at any point this season where he's raced in the North America Series. And once again, he takes victory, this time at Road Atlanta. Behind him, Scott Blend will be your winner in the Masters, clinching his championship with that finish as the rest of them go across the line. And we wrap up race number 1 here on our final weekend of 2025. In the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America GT3 Cup. Well, your finishing order sees Alan Metney take the win. Danny Dashelski will get a P2. Scott Blend, as we said, your winner in Masters, was 3rd overall. And Kelly finished 2nd in those Masters, just behind him, with Ryan Cron also on the podium. A great quiet race from him, at least in that second half of it. Tony Lito was also on the podium in the Pro-Ams, finishing 3rd. He was 6th overall. From here, Dusek, 7th overall. Mim was 8th, and then Todd Perriott finishing 9th. And then Treffert wound up in 10th today, Joey.
Yeah, Kyle Washington going to finish 11th, 7th in class with Conley 12th overall, Musial 2.0 and 13th. Chris Hutter finishing back here in 14th. Therese Lalu was able to climb back up to what is P15 overall with the top 10 in class. Ross Poole 16th. Gafarov back here in 17th with Laura Eli 18th. Frank Vitiello 19th, and Sean McCaig back here rounding out your top 20.
Thomas Herb comes home in 21st. Eric Lapp will be P22 behind him. John Manship in 23rd, followed by Dan Ammon in the 24th spot. Dave Musial Sr. will finish in 25th, with Tillman Schmid in 26th position. Colt Kleck with an uncharacteristic 27th spot. Bowden got back out on track, but was a lap down in 28th. It was a DNF for Johnson and Gilliland behind them. Podium ceremony is going to be coming your way down in the paddock as we wrap up Friday here in the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America GT3 Cup Series.
It's hard to contain your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
What? WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy. Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
folks, it's time for our podium ceremonies here in Porsche Sprint Challenge North America GT3 Cup. Starting off with a 992 Masters, let's kick it off with third place, the driver of the 233, Reinhold Kron. Finishing second, it's the driver of the 208 machine, Caden Kelly. And it's 2 for 2 today for our victor, your winner, Scott Flynn.
Congratulations on P3 today. How did your race go?
I was trying to catch Caden there for a bit, and I was on his tail and just trying to keep up with him and just, basically trying to keep up with our pace. So it was a good race. I loved battling with those guys.
No, you did a great job today. Congratulations. All right, Caden. There's all kinds of smiles on this podium. I love to see it. All right, so how did your race go? Good battle there with Scott. You were right on his tail. So how did it feel for you?
It was great, but the only thing I would say, I did not expect to see a purple and yellow, green, whatever car that is on my butt a lot of the race, so nice job. I just want to say he's come so far and racing so well, so awesome job. And then, we were so close. I had some spots where I was faster. He had some spots. We were so close. He was starting to lose his rears, and I was like, I think I can get him, maybe. But, I just got to say hats off. It's such a fun time racing with these guys, and you're a legend, dude. I'm coming for you, though. Don't think I'm not.
Those are fighting words right there. I don't know about you. All right, Scott, P1. A little bit of chaos there at the start. Were you a part of that in any way?
No, I was a spectator, and I'm glad I was. So it just worked out. I just got up the hill nice and clean, and it was a good race. And this win couldn't have come a race too soon. This field has just gotten so tough. I mean, Caden, of course, is tough as hell. Reinhold, tough as hell. John Gill. I mean, everybody has just risen, and this entire paddock has become so competitive. And so to get one more win against these guys, it was big. I think it may have been enough to clinch this Masters championship. We're going to have to look at the points, but I think it may have been. But it was a great race, and this whole year has been fantastic. The paddock's been fantastic, and so is the racing, actually. So it's just been a great year.
Congratulations, Scott.
Thank you.
And if you want to put those trophies down, you can now spray some champagne! Congratulations to our 992 Masters podium finishers. As far as the championship goes, unofficially, that should put Scott Glenn out of reach. Up next is the Good Boy Vodka Fastest Lap Award. Today, that goes to the driver of the number 211, Cole Kleck. Great job by Cole Kleck, our Good Boy Vodka Fastest Lap Award winner here in race number 1. And finally, it's time for our 992 Pro-Ams. Finishing third today, having to fight back to get his way on here, it's the 203 of Tony Melito. Finishing second today, adding to a tally of many podiums this season, the 252 of Danny Dashelski. And your winner, another 2 for 2 today for the 298 of Alan Metney.
All right, Tony. Congratulations on your P3 today. Talk us through your race today. I know you had some really aggressive, impressive passes, and you're kind of in the middle of some of that mayhem there. So how did that go for you?
Yeah, I think it was more just a really hectic start. Was glad to kind of get through that after lap 1 and then start just trying to make my way back after I lost quite a few places. But team did a great job setting up the car. I really appreciate the crew and everything that they've done. Same with Ryan. You know, we really worked through a lot of the changes and was able to have a good race car to claw my way back. So really appreciate it.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. All right, Danny. You had some incredible pace today. I mean, you were right behind Alan. It almost looked like you were going to make some moves there a few times during the race. How was it for you?
It was really enjoyable. You know, I've had a lot of fun driving here. It was a really great battle with Alan, so I'm just hoping to have another good battle in race 2.
All right, awesome. Sounds great. Alan, your second race today, race win, back at the top step of the podium. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, and it's been a busy day, and I just want to thank my crew for hustling to make it happen. Kale did a great job. Sheil did a great job on the engineering. Thank you, Andrew, for coaching.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Let's hold those trophies high for the cameras. Let's swap the hats around, please. And now you can spray a little champagne. Congrats to our winners here in the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America GT3 Cup Pro and Class. That's it for Friday's racing. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning with the Caymans here in Porsche Sprint Challenge North America.